And if you keep saying, I'm not going to have enough money, I'm not going to have enough money, I just know it, I'm not going to have enough money. Well, guess what? You're definitely not going to have enough money. But when you start to change that thought to, I'm going to be okay at the end of the weeks. I'm going to have enough money. I have enough money now. I have enough money to live today. I have enough money to pay my bills. Opportunities come. Hi, I'm Paula Christine, and welcome to Beyond the Paycheck. So last week we talked about that I had put an offer in on a home. Well, I want to let you know that it was accepted. We are now in the inspection part of that. So if that goes well, appraisal then closed. So it looks like I might be moving in just a few weeks. I'm really excited. Yesterday, I was talking to a woman who is also looking for a home, and we were talking about her struggles, and her money's a little tight. She had recently lost her husband, and so she needed to make some changes in her life, and so she was looking for a new home. So we talked about, should she rent? Should she, look at a cooperative? Should she actually purchase a home? And what would be in her best interest for her and her children? And one of the overall themes that I kept hearing from her is, I'm worried. And what she was worried about was money, as with all of us at some point in our life are worried about money. Money doesn't grow on a tree, so we have to work within our means. And hopefully everybody is working within their budget, but I know a lot of people aren't, because if they were, we wouldn't have credit card debt, and you would need to work, overtime or extra job, those kinds of things, if we were all living within our budget. And trust me, there's many times in my life that I did not live in my budget, so I have no judgment here. So anyway, we talked about, or all I kept hearing in there was worry, I don't have enough money, I don't know what I'm going to do, this night might need to be done, that might need to be done. And when you think like that, all those things will come true. And most people think that I'm crazy when I talk like that, but I had to change my own mindset when it came to what I thought about myself, and then also what I thought about money. And I used to worry about money because, I grew up thinking that we were poor. And lots of times your mindset is set by how your parents feel or interact with money. So my mom very much had a scarcity mentality about money. Like we didn't have enough. We were always running short. And likely we were, because my dad had a different mindset about money, and he just spent freely and didn't really adhere to the budget. And our life changed when my mom was able to go to work when we were teenagers. So it wasn't as tight. And my parents did the best they could. I would never criticize them for the way that they raised me. Wasn't always positive, but, they did the best they could, just as, most people do the best they can when it comes to raising their children. I'm sure my children would tell you a few not so good things about me. Anyway, I had to learn to change that money mindset, because I took that scarcity mindset with me into my adulthood. And there were times in my life, sure, that I was, living paycheck to paycheck, sometimes not even having enough money to cover bills, and worked, 2 or 3 jobs just to make sure that ends meted and that I could get ahead in my life. But then there are other times when I did have plenty of money and I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, but my mentality kept me there. It always kept me in that living paycheck to paycheck mindset, that the world was always going to drop out from under, or the floor was always going to drop out from underneath me. And I was one step away from being in the poorhouse. And none of that was true. But that's just kind of how I felt based on how I watched my parents deal with money when I was growing up. And so I had to take that with me. So what caused me to change that? Actually, divorce. My ex-husband said some pretty nasty things to me at the beginning of our divorce that kind of stuck with me and forced me to kind of look at things a little differently. Now, I don't ever think it's good to say nasty things to people, but in this circumstance, those nasty things actually made me want to change those things that he said. Some of them weren't even true. He just said those to be hurtful, but I had to come to the belief that one of those things, those things that he said to me weren't true, because honestly, they weren't, but they played into a lot of what we all kind of feel like sometimes is that, we're unlovable or not worthy. And, and then it also played into my scarcity mindset that I had adopted when I was a child. Anyway, so very grateful that those things were said to me. I know people think I'm crazy for that because it put me in this mode of change, and I had to really work hard on myself to change those things. And so how did I do it? So I worked with a therapist, life coach, who helped me look at, things that happened, look at my inner child and look at the ways that I was raised, and to start to look at those things a little bit differently and to learn the lessons that I was supposed to learn from those experiences to help me to let go of those thoughts of being unworthy or the money scarcity, to let go of all that so that I could become the person I am today. And I know you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but it really truly helped me change my life and helped me get to the point today that I don't worry about money. So I'm purchasing this home, which is one of the most expensive purchases I've ever made in my life. And I'm doing it on my own, which could be terrifying for a lot of people because I'm 100% dependent on myself to make those payments and to do the maintenance and all the fun things that go with home ownership. And maybe a little bit nervous, but definitely not scared or intimidated by the money or anything because of the work that I did with that therapist and the life coach. And how did we do that? I still take those tools with me every day. They taught me how to use affirmations and changing negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And I have this course called Making Money Matter. I always get the title screwed up, but Making Money Matter. And this is the first thing that we talk about in Module 1 is how to change that mindset, how to think more positively about money and how by doing that, how things tend to work out. And I know people, I say things sometimes don't work out for me or, not everything works out the way it's supposed to. I don't know what to say to that. I just know that that's what I believe. And I'm not sure why some people get different lessons that they need to learn. I don't know. I can't explain that. I just know that the energy that I use that is positive and it has changed my life. Okay. So let's talk about affirmations for a second. So an affirmation is just a positive statement, and the statement must be stated as if you already have it. So one of the affirmations that I use all the time is, I have all the money I want and need to support my lifestyle and to donate. So again, you can shorten that to say, I have all the money that I need and all the money I need to donate. So any way that it works for you, and I say this to myself until I believe it. And anytime a negative thought comes into my head, I try to turn that negative thought off and turn it into a positive statement. So for example, let's say that we're thinking about, not having enough money at the end of the week to pay your bills. And if you keep saying, I'm not going to have enough money, I'm not going to have enough money, I just know it, I'm not going to have enough money. Well, guess what? You're definitely not going to have enough money. But when you start to change that thought to, I'm going to be okay at the end of the weeks. I'm going to have enough money. I have enough money now. I have enough money to live today. I have enough money to pay my bills. Opportunities come. It's surprising that opportunities do come when you start to think differently and you start to think more positively, then the opportunities are there. But when you're thinking negatively, you can't see them. So maybe it is that week you find something to sell on Facebook that gives you the money that you need. Or, I don't know, maybe you get $100 check in the mail. It's just really weird how you start to think differently, things happen. So I was doing some volunteer work this weekend, and I was talking with this lovely woman next to me, and we were kind of talking about this subject. And she was saying that she had just spent some money that she really didn't have to take this course that she wanted to take. And she's like, well, I really don't have it. but she goes, I'm going to do it anyway. It's meant to be, it'll all work out. So she goes the next week, she, for some reason, hadn't gotten all of her mail. And so she was going through her mail. She had a huge stack of it. It got delayed because she had moved. And inside of there was a check that was just a few dollars short of the money that she had just put out for that course. Because she wasn't worried about it and she put out the energy that it was going to be okay, the money came to her. And I know you're probably thinking, I'm going to tune this check out right now. I don't believe any of that, but it really does work. So one time when I was in Greece, I spent some money on a cooking class that I didn't end up going to because I had to drive through the mountains and it was dark and it was raining. And it's the scariest thing ever, driving through the mountains in Greece. So I didn't go. And I was like, bummer, I was out the experience, but I had a lovely experience with doing something else, but I was out the money and I was like, bummer, but it was meant to be. I wasn't meant to go on that trip. The money will come some other way. So during that, I went to look at some of the other places that I was going to and checking hotels. Now that I knew the area a little bit more, I didn't want to get myself stuck in an area where I was going to have to drive through the mountains to get to where I needed to be. So I started to check out the other islands that I was going to make sure my hotels were in the right place. So that cooking class was like $70. And so I changed hotels and they're like, there's going to be a $35 fee to do it. I'm like, that's okay. I'm not going to spend it, and I'm thinking, well, now I'm at $105. Not really, it'll all work out. So anyway, I changed hotels. My price of my hotel went down an exact $70. And then when I got to the hotel in Milos, she goes, oh, if you pay cash, I will discount it. And she discounted me $35. So I was out nothing, because I wasn't worried about it. I just knew it was all going to work out. So those are the kind of experiences that I've had since changing my mindset about money. So I know I got off subject here. So let's go back to affirmations. So if you send me an email to paula@paulachristine.com, I have 30 affirmations all related to money that I have put together in a PDF. I will email that to you and you can get started. Now, it's best to write your own affirmations, but when I started, I was just, borrowing other people's and then just adapting them to my thoughts or just even using them because I just really didn't know where to begin. And you can use these affirmations for money. You can use these affirmations for weight loss. You can use them for everything. Thinking about the subject of weight loss. So if you think about every day you look in the mirror, I don't care if you wear 100 pounds or 500 pounds or your perfect size for where you want to be. If you just keep going, I'm fat, I'm fat. Look at me. Oh my God, I'm fat. I got love handles. Look at my thighs, look at my arms, they shake. Well, guess what? That's what they're going to look like because that's what you keep telling yourself. So if you said to yourself every morning, God, look how beautiful I am. Yeah. I'm perfect around the waist. My thighs are amazing and my arms are just so muscular. Whatever it is that you need to tell yourself. Eventually, you'll start to look like that because you'll start to believe it. Affirmations are really key to changing your life. And the other thing that I learned through my therapist and life coach was meditation. And I have a hard time shutting off my brain. As you can see, I have a hard time even staying on subject. My friends call me squirrel because I go from one thing to another. But meditation and trying to shut off your brain to relax yourself and to let go of those negative thoughts has really helped me. Although I still never got able to shut off my brain. If somebody could teach me that, I would really appreciate it. But I do try to ground myself every morning and to start with positive thoughts. If I ever do get a negative thought, I always just immediately shut it down by saying, hey, I don't have time for you today. I don't even think that way anymore. I'm going to go ahead and do this instead. I'm going to think about this instead. So I hope that helps you about thinking about maybe changing your mindset. And if you would like some help, reach out to me at paula@paulachristine.com or check out my course on Making Money Matter at paulachristine.com, where again, the first section or first module is about money mindset. And actually within that module too is also about your money personality, which I think I'll talk about next week and our next episode of Beyond the Paycheck. So talk to you soon. Take care.